Everybody, welcome to week number 6. So the learning outcomes for the week: consider approaches to assessing ethical leadership, and consider approaches to modeling ethical leadership. So of course we have the 3 course readings for the week. Just a reminder that the notes I took on each of those, if they're of any use to you, are in the course news and bulletins. You can find them under week 6 stuff if you like to review what I ended up highlighting from there. A little housekeeping item, because we have week 7 assignment coming up next week, as I said in the initial email about the course. I will be having another optional Zoom session if you're interested. It's going to be on Tuesday evening at 9:30 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, and we'll be talking about the week 7 assignment. I will be presenting at that time a supplementary document, much like I did in week 3 for the week 4 assignment. So even if you can't make the Zoom meeting, it is optional. You can review what we said after, and in addition, you'll have access, of course, to the document within the course news and bulletins after that session. So if you can make it Tuesday evening, and that would be April the 6th, tomorrow night, at 9:30 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. I'll send the Zoom link out about 15 minutes before the meeting on email and in the course news and bulletins. So some things from the unit notes this week. This week we're going to look at diverse approaches to assessing and modeling ethical leadership for equity, diversity, and inclusion. We're going to think about what might be used, and something I like to talk about, as you know, from the DQs and also from the feedback I give you each week. And by the way, you'd have your feedback for week 5 now. Just check that. What role does context play? And it turns out it plays a really big role in terms of how we implement elements of ethical leadership. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. And of course, context plays a significant role in how the leader understands that context is really important. So it says drawing from, so let's go to the DQs. The first DQ for the week: drawing from the readings in this unit, develop and propose a framework for assessing ethical leadership. What might be the key elements? It asks, what is the role of our own agendas, biases, and assumptions in that appraisal? Can a framework help us mitigate these factors? So, in other words, if we're asking how do you assess ethical leadership, what I'd really like to focus you in on in this DQ is how will you know if what you're trying to implement is working? So I'm going to repeat that. How will you know what you're trying to implement is actually working? I think that's a good thing, to focus on. You could talk about, well, here's what I would try to do. These would be the key elements of how I would try to assess. But really, at the end of the day, the question is, why are you assessing? And you want to know that it's working. So think about that within your DQ. DQ number 2, since ethical leadership is not often clearly articulated as part of the solution, it can be difficult to make a case for its inclusion in professional development programs for leaders. So based on your readings and the literature, write a short 200 words or fewer sales pitch to a constituent group. It could be colleagues, supervisors, whomever you want, to convince them to include an ethical leadership component within a school or non-school leadership professional development program. So you're trying to sell other people who may not understand, because they haven't taken a course like you have, why it would be important to have ethical leadership as part of professional development. So in other words, much like I said for DQ1, why is it important to do this, and how will it help the organization? So again, in terms of answering this DQ, focus on, why, in explaining to other people, why is ethical leadership important as part of professional development, and possibly how could it help the organization, keeping in mind that you're trying to sell it to others. So I hope that helps a bit. Look forward to seeing you on the DQs, and maybe I'll see a few folks Tuesday evening, April 6th, as we talk through the week 7 assignment. So have a great week, folks, and we'll see you soon.